So Oakland, in terms of the offense and in terms of how they're playing, they are at their I don't want to say their ceiling, like they can't get better, but I mean, like they're playing their best basketball now. That is dangerous. You get momentum. You play fantastic games coming into the Horizon League semifinals where you're faced up against the number one seed, Robert Morris Colonials, and it is game on. And Oakland's playing really hot, and I wanted to kind of give the preview for tonight's game against Robert Morris, and I'll splice in the reaction for it shortly after it. But I want to paint the picture for you guys for this semifinal game: the 1 seed Colonials and the 6 seed Golden Grizzlies. Oakland, the only team in the quarterfinals to beat the home team. Oakland only one to win on the road to get to Indy. Everyone else was chalk and was able to get there on their home court. So this season, Oakland is 0-2 against the Robert Morris Colonials. First game played shortly after New Year's, January 4th, Saturday, where they lost 79-71 in a game where in the press conference, Baru said, quote, "We just sucked." They were not happy with their performance, and they wanted to make sure that their following game against the Colonials was one that was much, much better. And that game would be January 25th, towards the end of January, at Robert Morris. And this one was nuts. This game was tight. It was a 73-71 loss for Oakland. It was just 2 points, but the game was wild. The referees were the biggest story, not only just as a fan complaining, but it was so bad. It was, everyone was so hot that after the game, it was a crucial mistake by the referees, a mistake that the league acknowledged and kicked the ref out of the league. They said he will not be officiating Horizon League games anymore. But the biggest one was that Campy at the end of the game charged towards the referee to yell at him. I don't want to say like he was going to fight him, but right after the final buzzer, when Robert Morris was able to make, I think it was a foul on Cam Woods taking a three, and I think he made 2 of his 3 to give Robert Morris the lead that would end up winning the game. And Campy lost his cool, screamed at this ref, and got himself suspended for the following game. Luckily, it was against Green Bay, and Oakland took care of that nicely, but there's a lot coming into this game. At that point, at January 25th, Oakland and Robert Morris were on 4-game win streaks. Someone had to lose, and someone had to kind of restart that momentum, but Robert Morris just rocket shipped themselves from that spot. I think they were the 5th seed at the time. Oakland was the 6th seed. They rocket shipped themselves up to a regular season championship. And we didn't really know that at the time, but we kind of ran into Robert Morris on their way up. And now that they're at the number 1 seed, Oakland has a chance to knock them off. It's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season. Oakland did it against Green Bay, but it's against Green Bay. This is the number 1 seed, with the pressure on them to continue and get to the championship game. A little bit of a scouting report here. You got the player of the year, Alvaro Folgueras. Similar to Trey Townsend's player of the year last year, where it wasn't so much that he was dominant in scoring or dominant in one single thing. He did everything for his Robert Morris team. He didn't even lead them in scoring. He didn't even lead his own team in scoring, but he was just everywhere doing everything. Folgueras, 14.2 points per game. That is 12th in the Horizon League. 55.9% from the field. That is 2nd in the Horizon League, behind Mukeba at 1st and Baru right behind him at 3rd. So you got 3 of the top field goal percentagers in the league facing off in the semifinals with Mukeba, Folgueras, and Baru. 9.3 rebounds per game for Folgueras. That is 2nd in the Horizon League, just behind JaMychal Stillwell, who we mentioned of Milwaukee. We mentioned Oakland just defeated. So 9.3 rebounds per game, and then 3 assists per game as well, which is tied for 13th in the league for a power forward. That's not very common, but very similar to what Trey Townsend did last year for Oakland. Now Townsend led Oakland in scoring. I think he had about 17 points per game, but otherwise, high field goal percentage, high rebounds, assists as well. The dude is just everywhere. And I'm looking more into the stats. You got 1.1 blocks per game. That's 8th in the league. And he doesn't even play 30 minutes a game. He plays 29.1 minutes per game and is still able to do all of that. I forgot to mention this as well. He's 41% from the three. He's made 39 three-pointers out of 95 attempts. So, I mean, maybe the volume is not there. He wouldn't be listed for the Horizon League, statistics rankings. But he's 41% from three. All of that mixed together, like this dude was nice. So Fulgaris is going to be huge for Robert Morris and huge for Oakland to take care of. Cam Woods, in addition, their guard, a transfer from NC State, who's one of the top assisters and one of the top scorers in the league. I don't have the specific numbers for him like I do for Fulgaris, but he's one of the best guards in the league. And then you got Amarion Dickerson, who is the Defensive Player of the Year in the Horizon League. Doesn't have as much, Defensive Player of the Years don't have as much numbers behind them, but 2.4 blocks per game. That is second in the league, only behind Gabe Dines, who's literally 7 foot. And, second in blocks per game. He's like top 15 in rebounding, top maybe 15 in scoring. Offensive rebounds, he's up there as well. So that dude is going to give, as well, him and Fulgaris in combination, they're going to give Baru and Allen a great fight in this game coming up. So, one last look. We'll zoom out for the Horizon League tournament before we watch the semifinals tonight on ESPNU and ESPN2. Our matchup is going to be 7 o'clock on ESPNU, which by the time you watch this, you have already seen it. But zooming in to it, not only is this a semifinal game, but Cleveland State and Youngstown State, the Cleveland State 2 seed, Youngstown State the 4th seed, they'll be facing off after our matchup as well. Cleveland State, as a 2nd seed, they defeated Northern Kentucky last week to get to the spot that they're at. And Youngstown State, they defeated the 5th seed Purdue Fort Wayne to get them to the semifinals round. So let's look ahead a little bit for the sake of conversation. Neither of these teams are going to be easy. These are two, obviously, but there's not like a clear matchup that Oakland necessarily likes. Now, we play Cleveland State very well on senior night in the arena, a couple of weeks ago towards the end of the regular season. Youngstown State wasn't the easiest for Oakland either. I think we got swept by Youngstown State this season, and we split Cleveland State. I just want to, get the gears moving on that sense, if the case is that Oakland does move on. So this is going to be a fantastic matchup, and coming up right now, we'll get my immediate reactions to the result of the game, and then afterwards, we'll get into women's basketball.